Now for my freehand players, I need you to pay attention because this is going to change the way you play the game completely, alright? What's up everyone, it's KK, and today we're going to be talking about how to properly aim in Contractor Showdown Exfil zone. Now this is specifically more for freehand players, alright? I have a lot of people in my comments that talk about they have a hard time aiming or lining up their shots. Well, I'm going to teach you the proper way you should be aiming, and it's going to be completely different depending on whether you're using a red dot or a variable scope, alright? So let's go ahead and lock in here. Now, a big mistake that a lot of players are making when they're playing this game is how you handle your gun, alright? Now, when it comes to this game, I notice a lot of players, they like to do this maneuver here, right? When they're aiming at a target, they start by putting their backhand up towards their chin, and they go and put their forward hand and they raise the scope up, alright? So it's kind of a motion like this. They're always pulling up, and it's like this every time. It's the backhand up, and then the front hand after. They come around and it's backhand, front hand, backhand, front hand. Now you got to remember, we're playing virtual reality and we're simulating real life here, alright? Now if you're holding a weapon in real life, you're not gonna pull it back and swing it up like this, right? You're gonna have your hand stiff and you're gonna pull up just like this. Just like this. And what really helped me understand how I should be handling this was actually using a gun stock myself, right? Just because your controllers are always, stuck in position. And when I actually went back to freehanding, it made me realize, like, wow, the whole time, I was just freehanding wrong. If you freehand the proper way, it's just as good as using a gun stock, and you can have that same quick aim that they have just as easy. And just because you have to learn your hand placement. So let's talk about this. All right, so first we're going to talk about red dots, all right? When you're using a red dot, you want to have a quick draw, all right? That's the purpose of it. Up close, you're able to be quick. You can look at them, boom, take out your target, all right? Now, we're going to be talking about variable scopes after this, but when you're using a red dot, how you want to aim, like I said, is keeping your hands stiff, all right? When your hands are moving up and down, they're not moving separately, like front hand is going up or backhand goes up, then front hand goes up, or backhand goes down, then your front hand goes down. If your backhand is going up to raise a gun, your front hand is going up too. If they're going down, they're both going down, all right? So they're moving in unison at all the time, all right? Doesn't matter if you're going left or right or up or down, all right? Now this is going to change your game tremendously because it's going to allow you to lock on the targets, and your reticle is always in your face, right? It's always lined up. You're not going to have any more issues of pulling your gun up and you're slowly pulling up the front nozzle of the barrel and you're losing track of your reticle, all right? Make sure you have your hands stiff in front of you just like this, all right? When you're moving around, just make sure they're always lined up in some type of way. And the more you do this, the more you start understanding the feel of different weapons. Different weapons actually feel different, even while you're freehanding, which is insane, all right? So the more you do this, you have different hand positions, but most of the time you keep them stiff, locked in front of each other, and they're going to be moving at the same time. So when you aim up, boom, your reticle is right in front of you, and it's going to be insanely quick. The more you practice this, you'll be able to snap on targets a lot more quicker, I promise you. It may be even faster than a gun stock user just because you're so light with these controllers. Okay, now let's talk about using variable scopes. Now I really wanted to talk about this because a lot of players say that aiming long range is really hard when you're freehanding, but let me show you how you're really supposed to be handling your weapon when you are using a variable scope, alright? So when it comes to a variable scope, and I'm going to use it on max zoom here so I can get the best example, alright? Now, when it comes to using these, you're not going to be doing a quick draw, alright? There's a scav here in front of me, and you're not going to be aiming like this, alright? It's not the same motion as using a red dot. How you use these variable scopes is you keep it close to your face and you shift the scope into your eye. So it's just a shift. You always keep the weapon up to your left or right depending which side you are, and you shift the scope into your eye. Now you use this because you can look at the target and then you shift the scope right to where they are, right? Now let me give you even better tip. When you're using a variable scope and you're using it on max range like this, using a laser is very, very good to go ahead and get your target on them and then make that easy shift right onto their head also. So a laser is very, very nice for that. I know a lot of players don't like a laser because it gives away your position, but trust me, if you're shooting very, very long range and you want to get that nice lineup very easily, you know, someone's on top of car repair shop, using this laser is a tremendous hack, you know, especially if somebody pulls up close range and you want to get a quick, you know, PvP, but you only have, you know, a variable scope. You can pull up, boom, oh, see them, you know, and you're right on them. All right, so in a simple conclusion, if you have a variable scope, you're aiming and you're shifting the scope into your sight. If you are using a red dot, you're pulling it up and you are keeping your hands stiff and they're moving simultaneously. Just act like you're using a real weapon, you know? If you had a sniper in real life, do you think you're gonna be, you know, aiming like this? You might be crouched somewhere, you might, you know, you're most likely gonna be like this. All right, so that's gonna be it for this video. If you like this video in any way, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit up the comment section if you have any tips for anyone else or just anything else to comment on. Hit up the subscribe button if you want to see more content, and I'll catch you guys later.